I'm Sam.
And this is Gabe.
And this is Coaster Wars.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Coaster Wars podcast, where today we are talking about janky roller coasters. And this time, I actually didn't cheat.
Surprise, surprise from Gabe. But I think me and Gabe have talked about this a lot, how if it's the right kind of janky, it actually makes it a very enjoyable experience. And we really have hit the nail on the head this time, I think. We brought two of the jankiest things out there, but they're also some of our most fun experiences that we've ever had on roller coasters before. So
typically, janky roller coasters, the one thing, so how I would describe a janky roller coaster, typically another word you'd use to describe is rough.
Yeah.
Or uncomfortable, or like aggressive transitions. Sometimes like the GP don't like these roller coasters, especially mine was a very unpopular roller coaster for some people. I loved it. I don't know. A lot of people say they hated it, but I loved it. Maybe it's the roller coaster enthusiast thing that we just like roller coasters that are just a little bit more out there, or a little bit more character to them, or like I've always said, some roller coasters feel like a living and breathing being. I think you could definitely say that about my specific ride. But yeah,
as coaster enthusiasts, I think we also have an eye for the historical value in roller coasters, and we like to talk about arrows or Schwarzkopfs, and sometimes those can be a little bit janky coasters, and part of that's just the engineering and how they were built, but they're still very fun roller coasters, and then we have a special appreciation for the historical side of those coasters as well.
Oh, absolutely.
But with that, we have two very fun ones to bring to you today. So why don't you introduce our fighters, Gabe?
Sure. In the red corner, standing at a max height of 115 feet and reaching a top speed of 51 miles per hour. Hailing from the farm fields of Charlotte, North Carolina and the Vekoma Gym, it is Nighthawk. In the blue corner, standing at a top height of 38 feet and reaching a top speed of 35 miles per hour. Hailing from the trees of Georgia and the ENF Gym, it is Hurricane Coaster. Let the fight begin.
So I am bringing Hurricane Coaster, or just Hurricane for short. And why don't we talk about yours first, Gabe?
Yes. So Nighthawk. Nighthawk was originally located at California's Great America as Stealth. And then in 2004, it was relocated to Carowinds, basically almost in the dead center of the park. Mm-hmm. And it was known as Nighthawk. So this is a Vekoma Flying Dutchman model, or just a flying coaster model, whatever you would like to call it. And it's also the prototype for this ride model. So it was the first one. And this is a coaster, like I said, it was a very, like I said, depending on who you were, you either hated the coaster or you loved the coaster. Mostly because it was kind of uncomfortable and it shakes you around in your restraint. And because it was an older this was like the first flying coaster ever, I believe.
Oh, dang.
So,
okay.
like, they were really trying something new when they built this ride. But this is a coaster that I rode multiple times while I was at Carowinds on my solo trip a few years back. And I just fell in love with the ride. It was something where I always say this, like, sometimes roller coasters are not the best, but they're the most fun, or it's your favorite. And this definitely fits that bill. It was just a coaster I got off of. I couldn't stop smiling and laughing about it. It's a very forceful roller coaster. I think that's another reason why some people don't enjoy it as much. But yeah, this is a coaster that I really, for a while, it was actually in my top 15. That's how much I really liked this roller coaster.
Oh, so yeah.
It didn't fall out of my top 15 until I think we rode El Toro and King Ka. Was one that finally fell out of my top 15. So this is a really good coaster in my opinion, and now it's gone.
Aw, I know. So Gabe took me to Carowinds so that I could get a ride on Fury, and it was their holiday event. So first of all, they didn't have all of their roller coasters open, and then on top of that, as Gabe said, with the reputation of this ride, they basically had some of their more popular rides open for their holiday event. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to ride it. Did it also maybe have something to do with the temperature, Gabe? Because I know Fury wasn't open right
No,
away.
so I don't. So when I wrote it, I also was at their holiday event.
Oh, okay.
And so there, I don't think the temperature really had anything to do with it because it was cold when I was there too. Because I remember same thing when I got there. Fury wasn't open right away, and it was just. I think they probably already knew they were gonna tear it out. What sucks about it
Uh
is, do you remember when we were talking to some of the locals down there? And we're like, yeah, what's going on with Nighthawk? Have you guys heard anything? And they were all under the impression it was coming back next year.
yeah, I do
Like,
remember that. Yes.
although I do know the one guy, one of the guys we talked to, he was saying that it was definitely closed more often last year than it was in
Yeah.
years past, like down for maintenance and stuff. The problem is there's no more parts for these roller coasters. They built like two of them
Oh.
here in the U.S. and this one was already kind of pieced together from another one that had closed, and Vekoma doesn't make them anymore.
Mhm.
Obviously, now they have their new flying model, and so like it's hard to keep these coasters running if you can't get parts for them to fix
Oh
them.
yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
I think that was definitely one of the issues, but it was a very polarizing coaster. Some people loved it, a lot of people hated it, a lot of the GP did not like it. So that being said, it was probably becoming harder and harder to keep this coaster open. So
Oh yeah, that's the one thing where even if enthusiasts really enjoy the ride, they are not the majority, and parks really have to take a business standpoint, and if it's not pulling in people, unfortunately the coaster does have to go, which is really a sad thing for us roller coaster enthusiasts. And I am super sad that I did not get to ride this ride. As Gabe said, it's kind of in the middle of the park, so when we were there riding rides, I saw it the entire time. I could see the track. It looked really cool. And Gabe was explaining to me that it is an older original flying coaster. So it sounded really cool to really get a chance to experience. But why don't you get into the layout, Gabe?
yeah, absolutely. The first thing I just want to say before I go in is obviously everybody knows the B&M Flyers,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like the staple flying roller coaster, but this was a completely different experience. It has some similarities, but there was a lot of differences to this roller
Okay.
coaster. That being said, I'll drive right into it. So the first thing you do is you get into this train and you are basically sitting in a normal sitting position. And now the flying coasters from B&M, they actually flip up towards the track and it's actually an inverted roller coaster. However, on Nighthawk, the track is below you when you get into the seat. So you actually go and it flips you on your back. So you're like laying on your back in the seat when you go up the lift hill. It's a
It's,
really
yeah.
bizarre feeling. And then you get lifted up the lift hill and you're actually facing the ground on your back. So like your head is up towards the top of the lift hill, your feet are towards the bottom of the lift hill, but
Mm-hmm.
you can't see where the train is going because you're facing
Yeah.
the other direction. You're like looking
Very,
down the lift hill.
very
It's
weird.
a very weird moment. Very weird. Anyway, so you get to the very top of the lift hill, and this is where the coaster is going to actually flip you over into that flying position. So you're going to do like a 180-degree roll. And in this, you're also doing a 180-degree turn before you get to the first drop. So you basically go down a little pre-drop, it flips you over, turns you around, and then you go into the first drop. And this drops you. The other cool thing about this roller coaster is it's positioned over water. So like the
Yeah.
whole time you're looking at the ground, you're actually flying over the water. So you go down the first drop and you pop up into a banked curve where then you drop back towards the ground, get really close to the water. You go through a barrel roll, or it's not a full barrel roll because it kind of flips you on their back. So they actually use two different terms. They call it lie to fly. So that is
Hmm.
flipping from your back into the flying position. And
Mm-hmm.
then this other element would be fly to lie. So basically
Okay.
flipping you back over on your back. And this is where you will go through the vertical loop. Now, this is an element, like I said, is by far and away the best moment on this roller coaster. And a lot of people ask me, like, how does it feel? Does it feel like a pretzel loop from the B&Ms? No. It's not even close. It's such a strange feeling because you enter the loop on your back, and then as you're
Yeah.
going up to the top of the loop, you're like in a normal seating position. And then
Yeah.
when you dive back down, you end up back on your back. But you can't see where you're going. That's the thing. Anytime you're on your back, you're facing like the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So it's just a weird like, and you get like floater and then G-force and then floater and then really heavy G-force at the bottom of the loop exiting it. It's just a strange feeling. It's very hard to describe. But after the vertical loop, you then twist up into another lie to fly element, and then you go through a banked turn. You go through another dive towards the ground into another bank turn. This then again flips you over into the lying position, and that's when you enter the two corkscrews that are back to back. Another real weird moment for a flying coaster. You then end on your back after the second corkscrew, and then you roll into the final brakes. So basically, this roller coaster flips you back onto your back whenever you're going into an inversion, is the
Yeah,
best way to explain it.
it's very strange.
It is. It is a very strange roller coaster. There's no doubt about that. But that being said, I every time I got off this roller coaster, going through that vertical loop, going through the banked turns, going through the corkscrews, it is rough. Don't get me wrong. This was a rough roller coaster. The restraints were somewhat uncomfortable, but there was just something about the forces and the way they were delivered on this roller coaster. I just couldn't help but laugh. Like it was just so much fun. Like it was the funnest roller coaster at that park, and that includes Fury. Not the
Mhm.
best. It was not the best roller coaster, but it was by far the funnest roller coaster. And I'm very, very sad that they ended up taking this out.
Oh yeah. I think when you describe the way it sort of makes you into a flying position, it kind of reminds me of the really weird feeling you get when you ride a stand-up roller coaster. Now, I think this is worse, but it just like when you ride a stand-up roller coaster, you're not used to standing, quote unquote, on a
No.
roller coaster. So it just it goes to show how just changing the position in which you are seated can change the way forces are applied to you as a rider, and it creates a very unique experience and a very enjoyable experience a lot of the times because you're experiencing something you've never felt before, and so it's very memorable to you. So like Gabe said, I do think it is a very definitive line where something can be the funnest thing you've ridden, but not necessarily the best you've ridden. Me and Gabe talk about it a lot too with how something might not be the best, but it always quote unquote holds a special place in our hearts because we have a lot of fun riding the roller coaster. It's one of those things where you will get off this roller coaster and like Gabe said, you will never not have a smile on your face. It does not
Yes.
matter. You will never have a bad ride on it. It will always be fun to you.
The biggest thing for me is like when I went into it, I expected a B&M Flyer. And what a B&M Flyer is it's a very forceful G-force heavy roller coaster with some
Mhm.
twists and turns after that pretzel loop. It doesn't feature airtime at all.
No.
There's no airtime on a B&M Flyer. And that was the weirdest thing about riding Nighthawk is in that vertical loop. And that's the other thing. Vertical loops are not negative G's or airtime
Yeah.
elements. They're not. They're not. They're a G-force element. But the
Yep.
way you go through the vertical loop on Nighthawk, it almost felt like floater airtime in some spots of that loop. Just the way it kind of like gracefully brought you through it. And don't get me wrong, you pulled some forces as you exited that loop at like
Mhm.
the very bottom. Like
Yeah.
that's probably where it pulls its 4.1 G's or whatever. Like that was a very forceful moment. But the but entering the loop as you're going up, you almost get like a floater airtime feeling as you change directions. It was really strange. It was very strange, but in
Mhm.
a good way. I really enjoyed it. And it was different. It was something different that I've never experienced before. Like I said, it's not anywhere close to the same as the B&M Flyers. I think the only thing the B&M Flyers have over these Flying Dutchman models is they are smoother because they are
Mhm.
just newer roller coasters, better
New roller
restraint
coaster
design.
and their B&Ms. I mean, come on.
Yes, well, yes. So they are that on that fact they are more comfortable, but I felt like my experience on Nighthawk was more enjoyable. And you know me, I'm not a big fan of the B&M Flyers, so
Me
maybe that's
neither.
part of it.
Yeah, we've
But
we've never been huge fans of them, and I think part of it is because we are such airtime lovers, but we both like G's as well too. So I don't know. They've never
well,
really been our favorites.
we've only experienced the Superman Ultimate Flight ones. Now, if we get on one like Manta down in Florida, or one like
Okay.
Tatsu out at Kings or out at Magic Mountain, we might change our opinion a little bit because those are supposed
Yeah.
to be more the top tier flyers out there. Even saw
Okay.
a couple of the ones over in Europe are supposed to be better. So that being said, we've only experienced the prototype model as well for the B&M flyers. We've done all
Mhm.
three of them.
Yeah, that's a good
We've
point.
done all three of them, but we haven't experienced a different version yet. So that might change down the line. But that being said, I definitely prefer Nighthawk over the Superman Ultimate Flight flyers from B&M. I thought this was a better coaster. I thought it was a more well-rounded coaster, and I just enjoyed it a lot more.
Yeah, I'm really sad that I didn't get a chance to ride it. It makes me, like I said, Gabe was describing it to me when we were in the park, and I'm like, this sounds like a wonky little ride that would have been so much fun. And unfortunately, I did not get a chance to experience it. Such a shame.
Definitely janky, though. Janky
Yes.
is a great word to describe this coaster.
But with that, do we want to get into my coaster?
Yeah, the scrap metal coaster, as I like to call it.
I love describing this coaster to people because we went to Fun Spot Atlanta, and first of all, Fun Spot Atlanta is this tiny little park. They have a couple go-kart tracks. They have cumulative, technically speaking, 3 roller coasters, but one of them is this tiny little like oval like not even amusement,
Like
like
fair ride, like
yeah,
fair
county
ride
fair
coaster.
little kiddie ride. It then has this one, and then it has a beautiful, sparkling $13 million built from the ground up RMC investment over on the
Yeah.
other side of the park. So this thing, as Gabe just said, literally looks like they went to the scrapyard, picked up some metal pieces, and fashioned it into a roller coaster. It is called Hurricane Coaster. Began operation in 2002 as Wildcat at Wild Island in Sparks, Nevada, which is near Reno. I had to look up what this was because I didn't even know what it was. I think it's actually a water park now. They don't have any amusement rides anymore.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, like normal, like regular dry rides, I should say. They're a water park now. So, but at the end of the 2006 season, it was relocated to Fun Spot America Atlanta, and as the Screaming Eagle. And then as of the 2021 season, I believe, yeah, the 2021 season, it was renamed Hurricane Coaster. It has a top height of 38 feet, a top speed of 35 miles an hour, and this thing is only
Mm,
900 feet
mm.
long.
I feel like that top speed's low. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like that's low. I don't know. Maybe this coaster features zero banking, zero heartlining, zero actual design.
Yeah, basically.
This coaster looks like a 4-year-old just drew some lines on a
Okay,
piece of paper, and that's what they designed.
Abso-freaking-lutely. And this will make so much more sense when I get into the history of the company that built this roller coaster. They're called
E&F
E&F
Miller.
Miller Industries. They are based out of Portland. They have built 58 coasters. They specialize in kiddie coasters. This is specifically their 38-foot model. But this company has roots dating back to the 1940s when Carl Miller built a roller coaster in his backyard by himself.
Yes.
So yes, it is now run today by Fred Miller, his son, and his grandson Eric Miller, kind of keeping the tradition alive. But when I heard he started out building roller coasters in his backyard for his kids, I'm like, oh my god, does this make so much sense now? So let me just get into the layout and then we can talk about the experience that this ride is. So you get a right turn out straight into that lift hill. It is then an elevated turnaround before dropping it down into that first drop. It is 38 feet. You then come up into another elevated turnaround. It's not quite the 38 feet, but it's pretty dang close. You're up pretty high again, and you slow down quite a bit into that turnaround. But then you have another drop, and it's just like it repeats. So you have another elevated turnaround that's not quite as high, but you still slow down so that you can gain speed. But this one is now a double down where you get
Mm-hmm.
actual ejector.
Mm-hmm.
You're then back into another elevated turnaround and you drop down into a quote unquote standard airtime hill. Again, ejector should not be possible, but somehow it is there. And then you have a final turnaround into those final brakes. And the banking does not exist, like Gabe said. There is no banking, so those turnarounds just jerk you in all kinds of directions. And we also have to take into consideration the trains on this thing. It's just 3 cars long. And there was it just a lap bar, Gabe? I don't even remember.
Yep, just a lap bar. It's like a T-bar, so it has
Yep.
like the center bar that goes between your legs, like
And
up between
then
your legs, and then turns into a T-bar.
yeah, and you wouldn't believe it, but the ride is better in the front row.
Yes. Well, okay, so let's actually describe this coaster properly. The best way to
Yes.
describe this roller coaster is think about like I don't know how to describe it. Like think about something that doesn't quite fit properly, like it's really loose.
Yeah.
That's how this coaster
Yes.
feels. Like the wheels, like the upstop wheels and the side wheels and the side carrier wheels, they all are just a little bit like looser than a normal roller coaster. Like they have more play side to side, up to down. So like when you
Yes.
go through these turns, like the train like jerks back and forth and like wiggles back and forth violently. Like
Oh yeah.
not a little bit. It's a lot.
Mm-mm.
And then the same thing happens when you hit the airtime hills. Is like you're on like the carrier wheels, and then you hit the
Yep.
airtime moment, and you like jerk up to the upstop wheels, and that's why you get like that ejector. I wouldn't even call this ejector. It is a yank. It is a yeet.
Yes.
It is a throw. Like it is not airtime. It is
No.
a toss. This
Yes.
coaster is throwing you in places you didn't know you could be thrown. Like,
Yes.
it is very janky, very violent. This is not a comfortable roller coaster. Do not
No.
go in expecting a comfortable ride experience.
No.
It is not. That being said, it is so to the point where it's out of control that, like, you know how we always say American Eagle feels like a coaster you might die on?
Oh yeah.
This feels
Oh
like the whole thing's just gonna fall apart below you.
yes.
Like
It will not be
that's
standing by the time that you're done, and
no,
we wrote it
like
twice.
those scenes where like you're going down a track and you look behind you and the track's collapsing and you're like, come on, go, go, go. That's what you feel like would happen with this ride.
Oh my gosh, yes. And like with all of that said, we had so much fun on this roller coaster. Like I
We
just said,
rode it
we
like 8 times. We
oh
rode it
yeah,
almost as much as we rode Air Force One. Like
yes, it was so much fun. And every time we got off, like Gabe said, with Nighthawk, you're just laughing. You're laughing the
yeah.
entire time because it makes absolutely no sense. And then I also want to talk about so when we got to Fun Spot Atlanta, it wasn't quite warm enough for Airy Force One to be running. We had to wait until like 12 or 1 o'clock for them to even run the first train. So we were doing all kinds of stuff to kill time. So we before we rode this one, Gabe was reading me the reviews. And the reviews are absolute like
The reviews are almost
perfection.
better than the coaster itself.
Yeah.
Like
People are just like exactly
should
how
I
we were
find a
just
couple? I bet you I could find a
please
couple on Long
do it.
Ride.
Oh my god, because they're so funny. So yeah, we just I this thing holds such a place in my heart. It is so much fun. I love describing it to people. I'm like, it should not be this fun, and it just is. And it's like so Gabe talks about how something feels like it's an actual living, breathing thing, and it's definitely what this coaster is. It has a whole personality in and of itself. It was just so much fun to ride. And so we have to talk about that double down because like Gabe said, every part of this ride feels like it's yanking you in another direction, but the double down is definitely the most forceful part of this entire roller coaster.
Okay, I
It
got a couple
is
reviews here.
okay, go ahead.
We'll do this one. This coaster should not be this good. The transitions are like Togo on Planet Coaster without smoothing tools, but the airtime is actually insane with how terribly this ride is designed.
Perfect
Uh, here's a
description.
here's another one. This coaster looks terrible. They need to refurbish this thing so it doesn't look like it's ready for the junkyard. However, if you can get past its sketchy roadside carnival vibe, you'll find a nice little coaster, great airtime, and surprisingly intense. It's a little rough, but the ride is short and it's janky old scrap pile. What do you really expect?
Yep. Yep. uh
Oh, here's
Gabe,
one more. We'll do this one.
okay.
This ride left me speechless. I was thinking it was some family ride, but nope, this ride is some of the most craziest airtime moments on any roller coaster I've ever ridden. The double down destroys the quad down a lightning rod. The airtime is all ejector. This ride is a little rough, but a great ride. Just a little rough. Not a lot rough, just a little. So
Yes.
glad this ride is going to have a way better neighbor, aka Air Force One.
Mhm.
Better than Lightning Rod. You heard it here. You heard it here first, folks. It is better than Lightning Rod.
Oh my gosh. So yes, go to this park to ride Air Force One, but do not skip this roller coaster just
No, do
because
not skip it.
no, it is literally so much fun. Well, and the nice thing is you don't have to wait for it to warm up either. We rode up before Air
No.
Force One, so like if you're
Yes.
gonna need something to do anyways.
Little
Oh my
PSA
gosh.
side claimer. Apparently they cannot run Area Force One, or they can't test it. They cannot
Yes.
test Area Force One with empty trains until it reaches 60 degrees. We did not know this. I don't know how many other people do not know this, but for anyone listening to our podcast, if you plan on going to Fun Spot Atlanta to ride Area Force One, make sure it is going to get above 60 degrees that day.
Yes.
Otherwise, you will
Yes.
not be able to ride it.
Yep, they do not send it unless it hits a 60-degree mark, and we do not know where the temperature probe is because when I was reading on my phone, it said it was 61 degrees and they still hadn't sent it. So they must have it somewhere on the track. And then yeah, we were talking to the maintenance guy. He's like, "We send that first train, I hold my breath every time." We're like,
Yeah.
"Oh geez." So, but yes,
That being
so
said, two
yeah.
really awesome roller coasters. We haven't decided which one's better yet, but
Unfortunately, so okay, if we're gonna get into the end of this episode, we're gonna pick a winner. The only thing I have against Nighthawk is that I haven't ridden it. So unfortunately, I'm gonna pick Hurricane in this instance.
you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is a lot closer than it should be. This is a lot closer battle than it honestly should be. That being said, the fact that Nighthawk goes upside down, the fact
Mhm.
that Nighthawk is significantly taller and faster, and the fact that I get to scream and scare people whenever the train flips in the station, I'm gonna have to take Nighthawk on this one. But like I said, Hurricane is right there. It is
Yeah.
right there. If it
Yep.
if it if it lost by a fender. Like
It
it was
lost with that
close.
one screw that fell off.
Yeah, yeah. The one piece that fell off the train while we were going down the track. Otherwise, it would have won. But
Yep. I do agree that if I had ridden Nighthawk, it probably would technically be the better roller coaster. It's just it's the definition of this episode. They are janky but fun. You will not get off.
I
You would not have gotten off of either of these roller coasters not laughing. You would be
I
laughing the
will
entire
say
time.
this: Hurricane Coaster wins the award for jankiness.
Yes.
But
Oh
Nighthawk
my
was just a
gosh.
little bit funner, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. So.
This makes me want to go down to Kissimmee and ride the big one, the big Hurricane, the one that's like 80
Oh.
some feet tall.
Yeah.
I think it's in Kissimmee. Hold on, let me
I
look
think
where
you're
that one's
right.
at. I
I
know
don't
it's at
remember.
one of the other.
Yeah, one of the other fun
Yeah, it's also
spots.
called Hurricane. It's
Okay.
also an E&F Miller, but it's 52 feet. It's the 52-foot model.
Okay. But
It's the
still.
high Miller. So I want to ride that one.
when I go
That
to
one also, based off the pictures,
yeah.
looks just as janky.
When I was looking into this company because I needed to get more information, when I say they have built quote unquote 58 coasters, it's because they have a 20-foot model, they have a 30-foot model, they have a 38-foot model, they have a 52-foot model, and then they have that 83, 85-foot model. And so a lot of the
Where's
time
that at? We
I
gotta get
think
on that.
I don't know if they've built it, but I'm pretty sure they have one. Let
Oh,
me hold on. Hold on. F
watch it be
Miller.
in like somewhere over in Japan or something like that.
Enough Miller Industries. No, I want their actual website because they have a website.
Do they really?
They did. I swear they did. Maybe I got it off of Wikipedia.
Well, here I can go. We're sidetracking
Coasters.
here. E&F Miller.
It's totally fine.
188-foot Scandia Screamer.
Is it in
It
Canada?
is in production since 1995, so they never built it.
Oh, okay, never mind.
It was supposed to be in Portland, or no, that's where they're based out of. Yeah, it just says
I was
yeah,
gonna say I
88-foot Scandia Screamer model in production since 1995. It does say there is one. It is here,
I thought they had a website for.
Prairie Playland in Grand Prairie, Texas.
Here, let me go to RCDB. What is it called?
Prairie Screamer. I'm on RCDB. It has
Oh.
been operating since 2022. Yeah, it's in Texas.
All right.
Oh my god, this thing is insane. Hold on, I got
Oh.
pictures of it now.
Let me look at it. Prairie Screamer. Oh my god, here it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
it's
is
got an actual
it is
train.
huge.
Oh my
Yeah, it's got
god.
1, 2, 3. It's got 5 of them.
When the
Well,
hell
we're
was
going
this
to
thing built?
Texas. We're going to Texas. Well, it was relocated in 2022.
Oh,
I
okay.
could tell you that much.
That's okay. Oh my god, this thing looks freaking awesome. Prairie Screamer. That's freaking awesome.
It looks insane. I'm gonna be real with you.
Actually. Oh, that was awesome. So, with that, we should get into our future schedule. So, next we're going to be going into we're going to have a Coasters 101 episode, and we're going to be talking everything and anything intimate. We're going to go over history, we're going to go over coasters, we're going to go over contributions to the roller coastering world, which of course it's intimate. Their like list of achievements is probably as long as I am tall. And we're gonna try and we think hour long. We're gonna keep it to an
Yep,
hour long.
hopefully.
Yeah, right. So, but then getting in past that a little bit, we're gonna have episode 6, our custom layout arrows. So that'll be a really awesome history filled episode because we are talking about arrows. And then our 7th episode is going to be tunnels. These are coasters that technically, by definition, do go underground. Gabe's cheating a tiny bit, but we'll give it to him because we don't care.
It's a very short tunnel. It is a tunnel. It is
It
a
is a tunnel.
tunnel, but it's a
And
very short tunnel.
tunnels don't necessarily mean that they have to go underground because the Beast has a tunnel and it isn't underground. It's just kind of a covered piece of track. So,
Yes.
exactly. So, but going on to our next special episode after that, we're going to finally get into a company that me and Gabe talk about endlessly and currently holds the number 1 and maybe number 2. And, there's like 5 other ones on our top 15 list. RMC,
except for the redacted one we no longer talk about on this episode.
Yeah, we'll probably maybe leave that out of the episode.
Although we are going to rewrite it finally. I will say that.
Yeah, we have to give it some kind of second chance, don't we? Right? Maybe.
I think so. So.
Okay.
It might be.
We'll be in a better
I
headspace.
swear to God, if we get off of it, I absolutely love it. I'm gonna smack you. Just so you know, because it was your fault we didn't enjoy it.
I was gonna say.
Just want to point that out.
I was literally just gonna say I'm gonna try and not lose my phone this time.
You're not allowed to have a cell phone that trip. Your cell phone doesn't leave the car. It's just gonna stay in the car.
I was just about to say we're gonna be going to so many parks. We're gonna have so many opportunities for me to lose my. We went to 3 parks last time, and I managed to lose 2 phones. We're going to how many parks?
Yeah.
You're right. It's staying in the car. It's not coming with me. But anyways, and then I teased this in the last episode. I'm going to tease it again. So in the off season, while me and Gabe are not recording and releasing episodes, hopefully routinely,
routinely is right. We got at least 2 out. We got at least 2 more out.
Yes. We'll hopefully keep it as steady as we can. We'll probably be ending the season in May. I'm not sure when in May, but probably in May. But anyways, we're going to be taking the biggest roller coaster trip me and Gabe have ever taken, and it's also going to be our first international trip because we are going up into Canada. We're going to be hitting a ton of parks all throughout sort of the east side of the United States, and we're going to
more central east, yeah. So we're going to be doing
not the
Michigan's
East Coast.
event.
Yeah,
no.
go ahead.
Michigan's Adventure, Canada's Wonderland, Dorney Park, Darien Lake, Hershey Park, Kennywood, Kings Island, Cedar Point. We're going to be doing Kentucky Kingdom. We're going to be doing Holiday World, Six Flags St. Louis, and then we're going to end at our home part of Six Flags Great America to ride their brand new Wrath of Rakashka roller coaster. And it
Oh
is
yeah.
going to be so much. We're going to hate our lives, but we're also going to love our lives. It's going to be great.
Exactly. So I do want to say I will try and keep up with the socials, especially when we're on that trip. I'll probably be posting what parks we're going to on what days, and even just maybe recaps at the end of the trip. Will be like, hey, this was our favorite roller coasters, or maybe even just like these were our least favorite roller coasters.
This one we actually hated. But
Yes.
yeah.
And we'll see how it goes, but I might even try to take some TikTok videos and have those posting along the summer line too. And then we'll be back with the season 3. Not sure. We'll probably put out an actual schedule and figure out what the actual date will be coming back. But we'll have
You
a
will know once we record our last episode for season
okay.
2. You will know when season 3 is starting. We will let you guys know when to be back and listening to the podcast. We might even do a couple here and there over the summer if we have time,
Yeah.
just to keep up with it. But yeah, I know right now we've been so very inconsistent, and then obviously we're going to be ending season 2, and we only got like 8 episodes out. But that's just how life
It
goes
happens.
sometimes.
And unfortunately, this is not paying the bills, so we kind of have to
No,
prioritize
no.
other
Tell
things
your
sometimes.
friends. Tell your friends. Give them a
Exactly.
listen to our podcast. If you like hearing us, we just need more listeners.
Exactly. But with that, thank you everybody for listening. Please tune in next week for our intimate episode. But thank you for listening.
And I hope you all have a great day.